Next, we come to a bit of levity. This month's Muppet is, by goodness me, I need this one.
Oh.
I just need something nice, something gentle, something that actually is quite lovely, really, in some ways. It's the newspaper, the Shropshire Star. Their website, shropshirestar.com. Um, led with a headline on the 26th of September: Lost Shrewsbury Chapel remains hidden as team digs in the wrong castle, which of course immediately made me think of Indiana Jones, Raiders. They're digging in the wrong place, Indy. um, which I think actually that's an okay impression, given that I'm straying towards Welsh, not doing a bad Middle Eastern impression there. John Rhys Jones's performance is it's inimitable.
Uh, yes.
But
And that's before we get onto the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. But anyway, archaeologists searching for a medieval chapel found they were digging in the wrong castle, but made some interesting discoveries nonetheless. Now, the reason for this is that it's not as though you can literally just dig in the turn up at the wrong place and start, Ghostbusters 2 style, start digging in the street and just be like, oh, we're in the wrong place. It's much more a case of actually, in this instance, the specifics of where subsequent castles were in the landscape. The second season of excavations at Shrewsbury Castle, funded by the Castle Studies Trust, finished last Friday. The team, including lead archaeologist Dr. Nigel Baker and University Centre Shrewsbury heritage experts Professor Tim Jenkins and Dr. Mom Caper, interesting name,
Mm.
have been
Kappa, yeah.
reviewing the findings. Sorry?
Yeah, Mom Kappa, yeah.
Yeah, fascinating
Morn,
name.
Morn Kappa.
Yeah,
Yeah, great name.
yeah. Oh, it's Morn, not Mom.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Sorry.
going to
Oh,
say it's
my screen's
no,
rubbish.
no, it's also the font of the Shropshire Star doesn't help actually in
Doesn't
terms of
help at all.
differentiating you between an art. No,
Morn. Yeah, Morn Kappa. Dr. Baker said we
look, I think we have to apologise here to Dr. Kappa for this particular moment.
Yes, sincere apologies. For the font. Dr. Baker said, we were perplexed to find no signs of the natural gravel hilltop in this year's excavation, despite going more than 2 meters deep. The answer has dawned on us slowly. The familiar face of Shrewsbury Castle, seen from the front of the station and from Castle Gates, and the Dana or Dana is in fact the second Shrewsbury Castle. It's probably dated just after 1200 AD, but the first Shrewsbury Castle, which would have been familiar to William the Conqueror, was about 25% smaller. It was confined to the hilltop and, though smaller, was absolutely bristling with defences, as we found in 2019. That's why we didn't find the Chapel of St. Michael that was within the first castle perimeter, because we were digging in the wrong castle. I think this is a wonderful example of the growth of archaeological sites. It's actually something that locally I see. You see when you go to
Mm,
a site like, say, Vindolanda, the fact that Roman forts, in that case, they actually literally change their orientation over time, and so
yeah.
looking down at the palimpsest, as we call it, obviously in archaeology,
Mm,
you can see how small changes have incremental effects, and bit by bit,
yeah.
whole landscapes change and would be utterly unrecognizable from generation to generation. Um,
Yeah.
do you think? I don't. This is a gentle Muppet, isn't it? I don't think we're actually saying these people were Muppets. You know.
I think we're being unfair on them actually because I don't think they're being helped here by the Shropshire Star article, right? Couple of things I would
Uh-huh.
observe, being a student of the media and a student of archaeology. First of all, looking at the immaculately uh, cut and excavated pit with a sondage in the centre of it, which we can see in the photograph here. It looks to have been extremely well excavated, but it is not a massive open area excavation where it's easier to see relationships.
Hmm.
It's actually a relatively tightly defined excavation, or at least what we're being shown in the photograph is. And secondly, the talk of two castles. It is actually, if you read it carefully, we're not talking about two castles. We're talking about two phases of the same castle.
Yeah.
The first one being roughly a quarter of the size of the fully developed castle that is still visible. And that's where the problem is. They didn't, for whatever reason, whether there wasn't enough data to say so, or or something was missed in the desktop or whatever. But it appears the chapel they were actually hoping to hit was within the footprint of the smaller first phase, not in the larger second phase, and that's why they didn't find it. That's what
Yeah.
the article's really saying.
Yeah.
So
But it is a beautiful trench though, nicely stepped and
it
everything.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely, it's
Mm,
beautifully done.
gorgeous trench.
Um, yeah,
So
I'd
is
be I'd be proud to produce a trench like that.
absolutely.
In all seriousness, it's how it's how that kind of work should look.
I think so. I think so. It's pristine. Do you think this is a little bit like? So I'm reminded of the series Pub Dig, that wonderful TV series that Paul Blinkhorn
Which should have been
uh,
recommissioned at
should have been
Nana, I
recommissioned.
mean,
Blimmin'
absolutely,
UEFA
yeah,
Cup final, skewing the
yeah,
viewing figures. But in
yeah,
all seriousness, I'm reminded of that series because actually in that, it's Rory Bremner, isn't it?
yeah.
Also as well, just remembered it's Jonathan Rhys Davis, not Jonathan Rhys Jones. Rhys Davis.
It is, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, but Rory
It's nice to
Bremner
think of.
is saying to Paul,
You'll be trolled over that now.
I will. But I corrected myself. It's fine. Um, he's saying to Paul, "Oh, look, we found nothing in this trench. It's a failure. Oh no, ah." And Paul quite rightly says, "Only if you consider finding nothing to be uh, a failure,
And
grasshopper."
and you play pub dig, and I raise you time team at Templecoombe,
Okay.
where they spent 2 days out of the three having misinterpreted a tithe map, looking in the wrong place for a Knights Templar barn, I think it was,
Hmm.
or presbytery, or something like a medieval Knights Templar related feature.
Hmm.
Um, and that was simply showing how the archaeological process is fallible.
Well,
And
but
in fact, there's another time. There was another time team where they spent 3 days having um, investigating a site with metal detectors. They found a lot of casual finds, finding no structures whatsoever
that's the thing.
of
It's not.
archaeological interest.
It's
You know,
not. It's not a failure to confirm that
no,
nothing is there.
exactly, exactly,
It's part of the process. You see, it's
exactly.
and if your results are that you haven't found what you thought you might find, that's what the
Yes,
result is. It's a perfectly valid archaeological result. But as you say, it's interesting how I think here what they've done quite nicely is they've highlighted this notion of phases through the notion of how because it's undeniably that this is a very clickable headline. Because you go, how can you dig in the wrong castle? Like, did you just go
yeah,
to the wrong
yeah.
and I like that. I do appreciate that, and I think that
Which is why sub editors are very good at producing clickbait headlines.
yes, they are. Yes, precisely, they are. Um, and in that sense, that's where we're hanging the Muppet. We're hanging it on the notion that you could have dug in the wrong castle.
Yeah,
Although I would love to see someone genuinely digging in the wrong castle. Like if someone was meant to be digging in Shrewsbury, goes to say Rhuthlan or something, and or Flint, and they're like, no, 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 we're meant to be here. No, no, don't go away. Go and find your boss. We are digging
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Don't try and tell me we're not meant to be here.
yeah. Well, I know people in the past have argued about Roman place names and whether one Roman place is the one that's identified in the Antonine itinerary or not
Hmm.
in modern terms. One anecdote I would say from my previous life. I was once I was a lighting tech and we were waiting for a tour to come into the Brentwood Centre, and on a Sunday, on a rainy Sunday afternoon in the winter, to do the Sunday evening show,
Hmm.
which had sold extremely well. So it would have been rather embarrassing if there was no show to put on. And about 4 o'clock, 2 hours after the band was meant to be arriving with the PA system and lights, we get a phone call saying, "Hello, we're in Brentford. We can't find the venue. Can you tell us where to go?" And we said, "Yeah, get back onto the M25 and drive about 30 miles round to the other side of London. You'll see the signpost for Junction A12 Brentwood." We're
Oh no.
signposted off that.
So Brentwood, Brentford, Ford, as it
Yes,
were. Yeah.
yes,
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. I
yeah.
bet they were a bit embarrassed.
A little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But the show went on. The show went on.
And the show must go on.
It did. It did.